I get to QREST just by typing in QREST.net in the browser, and it takes you to the public website, which may not look exactly like this for you depending upon what tribal agencies you're affiliated with or you're helping review their data. But this very introductory video is just going to review how to look at your data, validate it, and export it into Excel, and we'll be adding videos as we add features to QREST. So to get to all the features, I go to my secure dashboard in the upper right. So it opens up to my site, which in this case I'm having as Pyramid Lake Paiute. And over here in the monitor quick view, it shows you the last 24 hours. And I'm going to be looking specifically at PM10 now. So it shows a pretty reasonable variation for the last 24 hours for PM10. But what I want to do is export data after I validated it for all of 2019. And because we didn't have QREST operational in 2019, I backfilled the data from 2019 into QREST so I can show you how you can review it, validate it, including assigning AQS null value codes, and then produce a report, in this case 2019 for PM10. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to review it, and I go to Air Data. I've already imported all of 2019 just to demonstrate how this works. I'm going to click on Data Review, and then I select my site. In most cases, at least to start off with, you would have only one site. And I'm just going to look at January 2019. I'm going to look at 1 month at a time. And that pulls up for 2019 only one parameter, because remember I had to backfill 2019 just to show you what it'll look like for 2020 when there are quite a few parameters streaming in. Let's look at that. If I click on January 2020, you could see that all these different parameters are coming in, and in order to review them, you would click on one at a time. But because we just have PM10 for January 2019 in QREST so far, this just shows up. So first thing you do is you say, okay, this is what I want to review, click Review, and it pulls up a screen that has on the top a chart for the month, and then the corresponding data below the chart. And just note that the corresponding data is sortable. So let's say if you wanted to sort it so that for some reason your table showed the highest values on top, you would click Value, and it sorts from the negative to the positive first. Click it again, and it sorts from the highest to the lowest. Of course, the graph is not programmed to follow along with that because it wouldn't make any sense. The graph sticks from the earliest date on the left to the oldest date in this time period on the right. So let's just take a look at some of the values. You can see here we've got some spikes, but they're not really super high. And if you hover your cursor over them, it tells you the date and the time and the value. We have a few negative values here, but for PM10 in general, negative values sometimes down to as low as negative 50 micrograms per cubic meter for hourly data is accepted by AQS, with the idea, of course, that over 24 hours it averages out to be consistent with the PM10 filter. But these negative values here are just like even less than negative 5 micrograms per cubic meter. So without any indication of anything else, of course we do have the QC results, and we've looked at the QC results, and they don't indicate anything weird. I don't even see any need to look at wind speed, although we could, of course, just to see if wind speed was high at the same time these PM10 values were high. But based upon where this is, we've seen a lot higher concentrations of PM10, and this looks reasonable too. Let's just zoom in on this so that we can make sure that like a value doesn't shoot from like 5 to 85 in 1 hour. So I'm just going to select this amount of data just by scrolling my cursor over it and holding the mouse down, and then it snaps it to that portion of data that I selected, and also the table below snaps to it. So from the chart we can see that the values ramp up, hover between 60 and 90 micrograms per cubic meter, and then ramp down in a way that's consistent with how PM10 is measured hourly at this site. So at first glance, I don't see any reason that these should be invalidated. However, let's look at this point 117 at 1 o'clock with a value of 90.39. And because we had sorted this from the highest to lowest, that appears at the top. And if you want to assign a flag or an AQS null value code or notes, you have to select whatever row you're in, because it's super common to want to flag several at once. And what we're going to do is we're going to click bulk edit selected, and then that is going to tell QREST for those 3 records, I just want to add a note saying that I looked at these and they are consistent with what I expect for that, and therefore even though these are high concentrations, I am deeming them valid. And I've got my initials and the date, and I say save. And now, so let's just find those values again by sorting here. You can see the notes are here. Okay, so now I'm going to show you reports. So let's generate a report just for this 1 month, January 2019 for PM10. So I'm going to click on reports, and then I'm going to click on data export. In the future we will have more ways of generating reports. Right now we have exporting it to Excel, and I want to export air data from Pyramid Lake Paiute, and I'm looking just at PM10, and I'm looking at the hourly values, and I click in the date, and then I select a custom range, and I'm going to go back to January of 2019, and I'm going to say from January 1st and go all the way through January 31st, click apply, and then export data, and QREST makes a little export. Now depending upon how your browser is configured, you may have something open up and say, would you like to open this or save it? Or right now this is in Chrome, and it gives me a link at the bottom saying this is available, and let's double click it. It's here in my downloads folder. Again, that might be different for you. And a beautiful Excel table is shown with automatically the filter buttons being in the header row. So that is an overview quickly of just how to review, validate, and export data, which are some of the features that are already built into QREST, but many more features will be built in soon. Right now, I'm going to do that same thing for all of 2019, as well as import all the other parameters for 2019 for this particular site, and then eventually I'll have quite a bit of data. Thanks for watching.